Hey kids, welcome back to our series, I'm in Trouble. Today, we're talking all about strengths and weaknesses. I want to find out how strong all of you are. What is the heaviest thing you can pick up? That's pretty amazing if you can pick up those things. But today, we're not only talking about strengths, we're also talking about weaknesses. You're going to learn some important truths about both strengths and weaknesses today. Let's get ready to learn all about this by checking out this video.
Hello there, everybody. Good to see you again. It's me, Josh. In the series, I'm in Trouble. As we all know, life is just full of trouble.
You're telling me one time there was an armadillo on my toothbrush?
How did an armadillo get on your toothbrush?
Well, he was using it.
Why was he using it?
Well, he's my roommate and needed to borrow it.
Your roommate is an armadillo.
Armadillo soup is delicious. Hey, you stay away from Eugene.
Anyway, have you ever noticed that there are people in this life that are just naturally strong? Yeah, like me, bro. Check it out. Not exactly what I meant. You know what I'm talking about. People that are just really big and strong. They work out a lot and they have huge muscles. Like this guy. Or her.
Here we go. Don't make me angry.
Or these guys.
This is making me physically ill.
Well, boys and girls, it's true. Not everyone has the same strengths. But today we're learning about a guy who's famous for his strength. You may have heard about him before. Sylvester Stallone.
Hey, boss, it's good to be here.
No.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Ah, this is fantastic.
No.
Lucille Ball.
Lucille Ball. What?
I don't know.
Now, we're not talking about those guys and girl. We're talking about a guy in the Bible who's known for his great strength and his long hair. Who could it be?
Chuck Norris.
No. How many times do I have to tell you guys? Chuck Norris is not in the Bible. That joke is so old anyway. No, we're talking about a guy named Samson.
Oh,
duh. No, that makes more sense.
Samson was incredibly strong, and he did amazing things, but his strength wasn't enough. Samson's story is very sad when you think about it. So what does he do? And what should we do when all of our strengths and our talents mean nothing? We may not be physically strong, like me, but we all have things that we do well. What do we do in life when those strengths and talents still leave us with nothing? You're gonna find out in today's story. So sit tight and pay attention for the action-packed ending. We're gonna learn that even though we may be weak, his strength is perfect.
Man, I wish I was big and strong like Samson.
Well, say no more, my good man.
Wait, what?
Hamana, booyah!
Hey, y'all, look at me! Woo! Y'all are so tiny.
Whoa!
That just ain't right.
Change him back now.
You guys are no fun.
Today, we're learning that when we are weak, God is strong. Even though we may not be strong enough to handle all the trouble that comes our way, God is always strong enough. You're going to learn all about that in the lesson today. But first, we need to find out what you gotta know.
What you gotta know? What you gotta know? What you gotta know? What you gotta know? Woo! Yeah! Hey there, boys and gals. My name is Wiggy Pop, and I'm here to have a rockin' time teaching you what you gotta know. Today, we're talking about how God will give you strength when you feel weak. So every time today you hear somebody ask you what you gotta know, you tell them this: I may be weak, but my God is strong. Oh man, look at these wimpy muscles. I feel so weak. Oh yeah? Well, look at these rockin' solid muscles. I'm so strong. Whoa, guys. We're not talking about muscles. We're talking about how when we face trouble, sometimes we just don't feel like we're strong enough to make it through. Oh, okay. That's right. We're talking about how God is strong even when we're weak. He will give us the strength we need to make it through our time of trouble. So every time today you hear somebody ask you what you gotta know, you tell them this: I may be weak, but my God is strong. And that right there is what you gotta know. My name is Wiggy Pop, and I'll see you next time. Rock on!
Today's Bible story is found in the book of Judges, chapter 16. It's a story about a man named Samson. You may have heard of Samson before. In fact, he's known as the strongest man in the Bible. Wouldn't you love to be known as the strongest person? Well, Samson was so strong because God gave him incredible strength. He told Samson, as long as you never cut your hair, you will have your strength. So all his life, Samson never cut his hair, as it was as long as he was strong. Now Samson had a life of crazy adventures. But one day Samson fell in love with a woman named Delilah. She was very pretty. The trouble was that the Philistines, Samson's enemy, made a deal with Delilah to find out what the secret was to Samson's strength. They wanted to know so that they could take it away. And Delilah found out by tricking him. And she took the deal to get paid a lot of money. And after several tries, she finally got the secret out of Samson and ended up cutting his hair. When she did, Samson's strength left him, and the Philistines rushed in and captured him. The Philistines took Samson away. They took out his eyes to make him blind and made him grind grain. It was a terrible situation. Samson was in big trouble. He was weak and blind and bound by chains. However, the Philistines were thrilled to have their strong enemy captured and weakened. They decided to throw a huge party to celebrate. At the party, the king's officials said to the prison guard, "Bring out Samson so that we can make fun of him." So they did. It was so sad for Samson. But when he arrived to the party, he asked the young servant who was leading him around to place him on the two pillars that supported the roof of the building so that he could rest. While Samson was standing, weak and blind, he looked up to heaven and prayed, "God, strengthen me one more time." And God gave Samson his strength that he needed right then. Samson pushed the pillars so hard as he could so that the entire temple would collapse, defeating his enemies once and for all. And it worked. God gave Samson the strength that he needed. God's strength was exactly what Samson needed. Today in our lesson, you're going to learn what Samson learned. When you are weak, God is strong. His strength never runs out. Before we get into that, let's hear this week's power verse.
Thank you. Oh, please have a seat. Wonderful. Hold your applause. Oh, welcome back. I am the actor, and today I am going to teach you a wonderful power verse. If you want to be a great method actor like me, all you need to do is listen closely and learn the power verse. Today's power verse says, "My grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness." 2 Corinthians 12:9. What a wonderful, fantastic power verse. Now, if there's one thing I've learned as the greatest method actor of all times, it's that the best way to memorize your lines, or the power verse in this instance, is to do it in character. So let's find out what today's character shall be. Let's see. Yes, today's character is my Uncle Rufus. Of course. What a nice guy. But it's not true. Acting, thank you. Okay, today's character is really a snake. I love this one. Okay, boys and girls, you have to say everything with so many S's, okay? Let's say the power verse on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. My grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. Acting, thank you. Good job, boys and girls. Now it is time for me to get going, but I have a problem. Someone has tied my shoelaces together while I've been sitting here. Acting, thank you. I don't even wear shoes. Okay, goodbye, everyone. Exit stage left. Where is left? I'm gonna go with this.
Have you ever watched a superhero movie? They're all about people who have superpowers, people who are unusually strong and brave. Most of them use their power for good, to help rescue people from the dangers of an evil enemy. We love watching movies about superheroes because there's some part of all of us that wishes we were stronger and braver than what we really are. The truth is, especially as kids, we often feel like we're not strong enough. We feel like we're too weak. We need the help of grown-ups to lift heavy things and face difficult situations. While it sometimes feels like a bummer to be weak, the Bible actually tells us that being weak is a better way for God to show his powers and strength. In our Bible story, God came through and showed amazing power when Samson was at his weakest. Today, you're going to learn some important lessons about strength and weakness. First, we all have strength and weaknesses. We all have things that we're really great at. Those are our strengths. What are your strengths? Things you're really good at. Think about that. Most of those things are pretty awesome. It's great that we all have strengths. and talents and abilities and that are just special for us. But while you may be really strong or really a good singer or play a sport really well, not everyone is. In fact, your strength may be somebody else's weakness. We all have weaknesses too. What are some things you admit you're not all that great at? Think about that. Those are called weaknesses. But there's no need to be ashamed of them. We all have weaknesses. And guess what? Even though our strength has its limits, God's strength never runs out. That's awesome. God is different than us. He doesn't have a weakness. Instead, he has an unlimited supply of strength and power. In fact, his strength is not only never ending, it's invincible. He's stronger and greater than anyone and anything else that has ever or ever will exist. That's what I call superpower. Whatever you're facing in life, whatever trouble comes your way, God is stronger and bigger. You may be facing some tough things. Someone you know is sick. You broke your arm. Your grades are bad. Your dad lost his job. And you don't know how you'll be able to afford food. You're getting bullied at recess. Those things are really, really tough. But God is stronger. Whatever you're facing, he is strong and mighty. God said it this way in our power verse. My grace is all you need. All you need is God. When you're facing difficult, tough, dangerous, and scary things, all you need is God. His grace is all you need. Remember the rest of the verse. My power works best in weakness. That's our last lesson today. When you are weak, he is strong. We love the part where God is strong, but the part he is strong when we are weak isn't that exciting. We want to be strong too. Our world tells us we need to be strong. If we want to be successful and do a lot of great things, the world says we need to be stronger and better than everyone else. They say, the stronger, the better. But God actually says the opposite. God says that he can work in our lives and use his power to help us better when we're weaker and rely on him. Let me explain what I mean. Let's think about spaghetti. How many of you have ever seen spaghetti before it's cooked? It's a hard noodle, right? So like when you're making macaroni and cheese and you grab those noodles, they're really hard. They're hard. You can hit them against stuff and they don't break. If you put them in your mouth and you bite them, they hurt your teeth. Those noodles are strong. But you can't use them. They're not any good. So what happens when you put them in hot water and let them cook? They actually get soft. They actually get weak to where you can smash them between your fingers and make them fall apart. So let's think about that. When something is strong, we can't use it. But when it's weak, it's delicious. That's kind of how God works. When we're strong, we don't ask him for help. We feel we don't need him. But in our weakness, we need him and we're ready to be used. Okay, we need to remember that when we're weak, we're like the cooked macaroni and cheese noodle. God can use us. His power and his strength will work in our lives. When we are weak, he is strong. When we face troubles that are too big and tough, God can use his strength to help us. His strength is perfect. I'd like to end today by praying for you. Would you bow your heads and close your eyes with me? Lord, I just thank you for these kids. I thank you that they come and they hear your word. And Lord, I just thank you that their hearts are willing to receive your message. Lord, I pray for these kids that are dealing with difficult circumstances. Lord, that they'll realize that they may feel weak, but if they reach out to you, you will give them your strength, your power. You will help them. Lord, and your strength and your power never runs out. Lord, I pray that you just go before these kids this week, that you just protect them and keep them healthy. Lord, I pray that you just help them have a blessed week. I thank you and I praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. Thanks for coming this week. Again, I hope you have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you next week.